Right. Well, I appreciate everybody submitting photos. I've gone through the pictures. They look great. There's some good ones in there. So I don't know how long this is going to be. It's probably going to be pretty short because we don't have a lot of submissions. So I'll go as much as I can over each photograph and try to pull out as much as I can.
All right. So I'll bring them up here.
Okay.
Here we go. This is Kalia in Libby Hill Park.
Okay. This photograph is excellent. It looks like a model because most models don't smile, and they look great without smiling. So it's a great shot. The light on her face is perfect. It's very soft. It just really is very flattering to the face, the skin tones, and the background being out of focus. This is probably a large aperture, depth of field, short depth of field, exactly what you want for portraits. So the background just kind of disappears into a milky bokeh, and the hair is everything about it is she's in focus perfectly. And her pose, she's kind of leaning forward. Her shoulders are at an angle, which is absolutely what you should do in portraits. Kind of a engaged there's this engagement where she's got the shoulder closest to you is kind of lower than the other one, which is kind of engaging, and just really well done. Everything's super sharp. The eyes are sharp. Really nicely done. I don't have a lot of critical things to say. I like the choice of a square because the subject of the model is right in the center. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. A square, a crop is really good if you have something right in the center and you don't really want any kind of eye movement. You just want you really want the viewer to focus on your subject. So you crop it square, and that's the way it really is the best crop for that. I really love on the left side the water droplets from the fountain. It's kind of pretty. It's that pretty background. It's very well done. So yeah, not too much critical there.
That was Bill Whitworth.
Good job.
Thank you. This is attempted tackle.
Okay. This is great. You caught a moment, which is excellent. It's absolute great moment. Sports photography is, you got to be fast. You got to take lots of photographs, and you just hope for it. This was a great capture. I just missed. She's got right here. Where's my tools here? Do I have things I can draw with? I don't know. Anyway, her face is covered by her arm, but you do get the mouth
right here,
right there, and that's enough to give you the idea of the expression. But the face is covered, which is a little bit, I know you can't you can't pose anything in sports. It is what it is, but I would have liked to see some more of the face, more of the expression there. I think it needs to be a little bit brighter. There's some deep shadows in there that are kind of, I just need some brightness, maybe less contrast. You got a lot of highlights there, but I need some more shadow detail to bring out some of the faces and things. And it needs to be a little bit warmer. The flesh tones are on the cool side. They're not warm. They're not, yeah, just kind of lacks some brightness. And just to bring it out a little bit more, bring up some of the shadows and get those flesh tones warmer. And yeah, that's what I would do. It's nicely framed. You've got space on the left and right, so there's nothing pulling your eye out of the image, and the background's out of focus, which is good. Not distracting at all. So that's my points. Nice crop, nice tight, not too much on the edges. So yeah, well done from the standpoint of capturing a moment. But you know, you can do some things in post to make it a little warmer and more brighter. Um, I don't know if you have a shot where her face is, you can see more of her face, but maybe that would be better.
I love the expression on this one.
Yeah, she's got a good expression there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Ling Whitworth.
Okay.
At the top there, Robert, you
Yeah.
should have your
Oh,
annotation tools if you
annotation tools.
yeah, if you want to
All right.
do any annotating. This is
Okay.
lovebirds.
Okay.
Could you back up to that for a second? I wanted to ask a question because I've tried to do some soccer too, and I've struggled with how close I was to the field and what lens I should be using. I'm curious what lens you use there.
I use 80-400,
Okay.
and the speed I'm pretty much always set up at least 1250 something.
Yeah,
like
you got yeah, I was gonna say the shutter speed is excellent. There's no blur whatsoever, which is great. Very well done.
Thanks.
that. Thanks.
Yeah, this is shot at 390 millimeters, f6.3, a thousandth of a second, ISO 250.
Yep.
Great.
I love this shot. This is outstanding. It's very simple. You got the two birds kissing. It's just it's a great shot. Again, it's you've got a large aperture. The background just kind of disappears. It makes it a very simple shot. And the birds aren't centered, and they're kind of off to the side, which is great. Your eye kind of goes along the tail of the bird, kind of. You got the diagonal. Really, really nice. I really love this shot. Very simple. There's no distracting elements. And just kind of I love the way the two birds just kind of like got the beaks together. It's well composed, great shot. Neutral tones. The only color is the beaks, the little red in the beaks, which kind of brings your eye to that one. Your beaks, your eye just goes right to those beaks because of the kind of the horizontal, the diagonal line along the back of this one bird. Really, really well done. I don't have anything critical. It's nicely cropped, super sharp focus, extremely well done. Yeah, I can't be critical on this one because I like the shot a lot.
Dave Stobert.
Nice, nice, nice shot. Very good. Well composed.
I see you.
Okay. All right. This one is great. Where's my tools? Anyway, I don't know.
Zoom in a little bit.
All right. Oh yeah, zoom it in a little bit. That's good. Let me see here. All right. Okay. Well, this one is great. There's lots of texture in this. The thing about this, I like there is some diagonal coming from the right to the left. There's some diagonals in images. If your eye goes diagonally, it gives the image a little. It makes the image a little dynamic. So there is a little bit of a diagonal there with these trees, and so it's a great capture. There, all these the deer are just looking right at the camera. Great. The one thing I would say on this image is the clarity is really high, and what I see is there's tons of highlights going on, highlight and contrast on the lower right, and with all this brush, and it's distracting me from the deer. And even on the deer themselves, there's too much white and too much, but I don't mind that as much. Maybe you could warm it up a little bit, just a tad, just to get some warmth in there. It's the clarity just below, right to the lower right of the deer, all that brush is very distracting. It's too sharp and there's too much contrast going on there. So my eye is distracted. It's almost like that brush is the same texture as the deer. So the deer are almost getting lost in the brush. So in the logs and whatever sticks there. So it's distracting. from the image. So if you could, in post, maybe tone that down, darken it out, kind of reduce some of the contrast in the foreground there with the brush, and that would help bring out the deer. Get your eyes focused on the deer, and it would make it a better shot. I would warm it up a little bit. I like the texture in the background with the trees. I think it's very lovely. It's super sharp. It's a super sharp picture in general, which is very good. And but the foreground with those logs is really distracting. It's all kind of a gray mass there on, and so that's all I would suggest. Other than that, if you could tone that down, it's a really nice shot, really good capture.
Howdy Nunley,
Very good.
Blacksmith.
All right. This is a great shot. I know the lighting is really difficult in there. It was just that, I don't know, it was a fire creating that light. Then you get the warm light, plus the kind of the cool light coming in from the window. It's a great shot. You have it, the classic triangle from the man's face down to his tool, going along the rod to his hand and back up his arm. So you've got this triangle. Triangles in composition are dynamic. They keep the eye moving. If you can find a triangle in an image, it keeps your eye on the subject and creates a dynamic image. And that's what you've got here. You've got a kind of a triangle going from the man's head down to the rod and back up. So the hand is nicely lit. The arm is nicely lit. Your eye always goes to the warmest area or the sharpest area. That's just what your eye does. So the warmest area is that glowing rod. So your eye kind of ends up there, which is nice. The only thing is, I know it's hard because this is probably a very low light situation, but the hammer is blurry, and that would require a higher shutter speed. But again, I realize this is, you're probably pushing the ISOs pretty high. You might have used let me see, 6400. Yeah, that's pretty.
And 1/25 of a second.
Yeah, I mean, but you have f8. If you went down to f4, you still would have had a good shot. You would have had them in focus, and that shutter speed would have gone up pretty high, and you would have been able to stop that hammer. So your aperture was too small. 1/25 was too slow a shutter speed, believe it or not, for this, because of that hammer. And you didn't really need f8. I mean,
the only thing what I was actually trying to do there was capture motion.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I'm
not sure exactly, what it would look like if his hand was actually still, almost looked like he was posing. But to me,
yeah, it's true.
You can see that he's actually doing the work.
That's true. Yeah. Yep. You could say that. Definitely. I mean, it's a bit of a subjective thing.
Right. Yeah.
I prefer the hammer just being focused. Yeah. So yeah, it's subjective. Yeah.
And that was mine.
Yeah, very good. I think it's a good shot. All right.
He's at Scott House.
All right, there you are. There's Lou. Lou Keaton. This is nice. There's a lot of things going on here. Again, you have a triangle, which is good. You got her eyes down to her shoulder, down to her other arm, and your eye, and that diagonal from her arm to her eyes. It's so you've got some motion there. You got the triangle going, and that nice diagonal along her arm that leads to the face. So your eye goes to her face. There's just the way it's composed. Couple of things. I don't think her expression is very posed. I would have liked to see her look straight at the camera and smile. That would have made a better shot. That would have been more engaging. Would have had more interaction with the subject if she's looking directly at the camera or at least smiling in some way. It would have been more engaging photograph. Eye contact is really important in portraits. You can do portraits with this subject looking off to the side if you're trying to create a mood. or say something. But most cases, the eye contact is important. In this situation, I think the eye contact would have been better if she was staring at the camera, and at least some expression. I think her facial expression looks very posed, very static. About the lighting, again, I guess we talked about this. If you're doing portraits, most of the light should be directed on the subject, and it doesn't look like she's in shadow. And so the image is pretty flat. Her face is the same tone as the background, and the light is kind of coming from behind her, and it's a pretty flat image. You brought up the shadows nicely, but the light really should be hitting her face, and that would have been done by a flash. Even on a low setting, would have added some highlights to her face, and that would have been made the shot a little bit better. I would have, just put some light on her. It would have been better. So those are my criticisms of that. Otherwise, it's sharp. I like the depth of field. Her head is kind of framed by the picture in the background, so it's kind of interesting. So yeah, you got a nice soft background. Yeah, I would a little bit brighter. I mean, you could just brighten it up if you wanted to save this image. Because you could just brighten it up. It would help.
Bill Wentworth.
All right.
Pouring down.
Okay. Now we got some bike cyclists. This is a great shot because we have repetition, and the lead, the cyclist closest is looking back at his teammates, and that's put your eye is on him. He's the one in the foreground. He's got the most light on him, and he's the sharpest one. But the fact that he's looking back pushes your eye back. And then you've got repetition. You've got this men kind of in line, repeating elements is a good compositional element. And then you got the reflections on the pavement, which are kind of cool. So the other thing too is if you zoom in, the water droplets, I mean, they're just super sharp. I mean, the shutter speed must be really high in this thing, because you can see each and every water droplet, which is just absolutely cool. Yeah, what's the shutter speed there? Oh yeah, thousands, perfect. And f5.6, perfect aperture for this. The other guys in the background are out of focus. You didn't need them to be in focus. The one first in line needs to be in focus, and that's all. And well done, good shutter speed. My only thoughts are, there's not a lot of stuff going on the right side. You've got some people standing there, and it's kind of like a dead space because all the action's happening from the center to the left. And so you really don't need what's going on the right. You can add some space, but I would crop. I don't know where. I don't have those annotation tools. Sorry. I don't know where they are. Are they
There
there?
are like 3 dots or something like that.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I don't see it. Anyway, yeah, I see the dots, but it's not working. So anyway, I would just crop the right, and maybe just a little bit of the foreground, just a tad of the foreground. Crop right and foreground, just so that, because there's not much happening on the right, and it's kind of unnecessary space on the right. And that would just emphasize because you've already got the front cyclist looking back at the cyclist. So you've got that already your eye is moving to the left. And so the right is not necessary. So I cropped the right off. Not real close, but close enough so that the more the energy is of the cyclist and going backward. Again, there's a nice diagonal going on, almost like a triangle from his face looking back at the cyclist, and there's this triangular motion going there. But the right, nothing's going on there. I would crop that, and maybe crop a little bit of the foreground, just kind of make it more of a horizontal, not so much a square. You don't want square. So yeah, that's what I would do. Good shot, focus, love the shutter speed, love the way that the interaction of the first cyclist. It's really good. There you go.
Ling Whitworth.
There you go. It's a good job, man. All right. This is a
I need
beautiful.
a head. I need a haircut.
All right, it's great. I love that mane. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful mane on that. That's a gorgeous horse. Love the shot. The horse is super sharp focus. Everything else is soft. The horse is a warm, it's a brown, and the sky is blue. So your eye just kind of likes that. It's the blue and yellow are contrasting colors, and your eye just kind of loves that. It's just kind of a nice contrast, the coolness of the sky against the horse, which is really nice. Well done. I like the fence. Again, it's a repetition of which is a nice compositional element. The soft background's not distracting. Nothing's distracting in the photograph. Your eye is on the horse. Now, the horse is in the center of the image. So that's okay, but it's a horizontal image. So when you have a horizontal image, it's always good to put the subject somewhat to the left or to the right. I would have moved the image more to the left, because you've got the posts on the left are in focus, and it would create somewhat of a dynamic. Your eye is moving whenever you do an image, yeah, somewhat like that, where your eye is kind of like leading you into the horse. Horizontal framing is really designed for your eye to move across the image. When you put the subject in the middle, then it creates a static image, and there it is, there's the subject. So if you like the image the way it is, I would crop a square. I would crop this square, cut the right and left off, and crop it square. And a square is good for if you want to have a subject smack in the center. Square is the way to go. It creates there's no movement, and you obviously see that the subject is what the focus of the image. When you have a horizontal, you're almost expecting there to be some movement of your eye across the image. So I mean, you might crop a little bit off the right side or something like that, but it's still, I think you're better off just cropping it square, just cutting off the sides, and that would make a better composition. And that way your eye knows, yep, it's the horse, because you really got left and right, there's nothing going on there. You really just crop those off, and it would make it better. And still keeping some of the posts in the image, it would make a better image. But other than that, it's super sharp. I like the hoof up, giving some motion. He's not just standing there. You got that hoof up. No, he's moving. And the wind on his mane. It's lovely. Lovely capture of the horse.
Dave Seibert.
Nice. Good job. All right.
Forrest Granola.
Okay. I like these titles. These are good. So this is a pine cone on a forest floor. I like the light on the pine cone. Just nice hitting just the edges of the pine cone. Good capture there. The thing that bothers me about the image is the background. Again, it's kind of like we talked about before, of just too many highlights, too much clarity. It's just creating distraction, and it's not in focus. And I mean, I guess that's fine, but it's just creating a distraction, and it's not that interesting. Your subject is really the pine cone, and if you had maybe a macro lens, I would have just taken a picture of that pine cone and just forgot the background, because the background isn't that interesting. You got too many highlights, and it's kind of messy, and it's not adding to the composition. So the pine cone is really your subject. I would zoomed in a little bit more on the pine cone, and because that's the focus, and that's nice. And I do like the light on the pine cone. But the rest of it is kind of a distracting, especially in the upper left there. you got those highlights there, and your eye always goes to the brightest part of the image. And if your subject isn't the brightest part of the image, your eye is going to be led off the subject. It's going to go to that bright area. That's just natural. It's the way the eye is. So yeah, I would just, I mean, you could just tone down that background really, really, just make it kind of toned it down. So there's
Hey, Robert, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I saw a guy on YouTube do something to a photo similar to this one time where he desaturated the entire thing to make it almost black and white.
Yeah.
But he made the pine cone only in color.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of thing. I mean,
Okay.
it's cute in portraits where you got a rose and the rose is red and everything's black and white. But in something like this, I wouldn't do that. I would tone down the background and just get rid of those highlights. If you really want to save this image and you like it, but the highlights are distracting and there's so much texture going on that it's distracting. So I would just go really dark and muted. And I mean, I wouldn't go black and white, but you could reduce the color down so it's a little bit muted so that the pine cone really shines, really comes out. It's like, wow, that's the brightest image. It's the brightest elements of the image. So that would make it interesting. Right now, I'm really, really struggling with, oh, gee, oh, yeah, there's this bright area over here. And, you know, it's kind of like I'm not really looking at that pine cone. I'm so distracted by everything else. So that's my thoughts. I like the pine cone is in the rule of thirds, so I'll give it that. So a nice that with that. But yeah, I would tone down that background, really, really muted, and so that the pine cone is the brightest. Or just, you know, I would go, you know, I guess cropping in would be too tight. But yeah, that's your subject. So emphasize your subject.
Mighty Nunley.
Okay, there you go.
Dog
Love the
in the window.
Oh, I love this picture. It's if there's a novelty and a whimsical thing part of this. It's kind of a human I don't know, tells a story, which is nice. And I like that. Great. You got the rule of thirds. Again, there's a square format, a square crop, which I like. Which, you know, it's different, but it works with this image really nicely. The dog is again silhouetted as against that black windowsill, which is great because he pops right out. Your eye goes right to him because I guess he's the human element or the living elements in the image, which against the stark architectural lines, you've got this dog, this furry animal there, which is a great contrast to all those lines. You even got on the left side the power lines, and those are diagonals, which you need diagonals in an image, and those diagonals are leading you to your subject. It's I don't know if it's kind of interesting that way that worked out, but actually your eyes they're pulling your eye right to the subject because your eye follows lines, and those are the only diagonals in the image. So your eye follows those lines, leads you to your subject, which is nice. It's I like the architecture, the use of the architecture framing of it. Black and white is a good choice because it's a very graphic image. It's almost two-dimensional. There's no real foreground or background really. It's very two-dimensional. And putting the dog on the lower left is a compositional. It's the rule of thirds. Well done. That's a nice image. I like it's kind of a story, which is it's cute and well done. Good black and white shot.
And that was mine.
Wow, good job. All right.
Down.
Okay. Now this is what to me, you look at sports, and this is a great shot. I mean, you look at the way the guys are, every single one, you see their expressions. You've caught something there, and they're sharp. I mean, the faces are all sharp on this image. This is a classically good sports shot, and I'm just going to say that because it is. look at the arms, going from the left to the right. They're almost in sync with each other. And the arms are kind of patterns almost. And each man is engaged in the center, what's happening at the center. And it's bright. I can see the faces. It's sharp. I'm not lost in shadows. The colors there, sharpness. Look at the veins on the guy's arm. You can feel the tension. He's grabbing them. The muscles, you can see all the muscles. Great sharpness, great action shot. Just the way the arms are just kind of in action. Everything is engaged in that tackle that's happening there. And there's no arms, it's like I see those faces and the expressions are fantastic. Yeah, it's really well done. The crop, you got a long crop, you cropped in perfectly because you really don't need the top or the bottom. It's not necessary. You crop right in on the players there. And the background's just soft, which is nice. Well done photograph. I don't have anything critical to say about this. It's a really good sports shot.
Bill Whitworth.
Good job, Bill. Nice.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stop.
Now, there you go. Now this one, there's a difference in post-processing between the one I just showed you, the one we just saw, and this one. This one, again, there's not a lot of contrast. The shadows are there. It's not bright. I would have liked the post-processing of the previous one applied to this one just to bring out, it would have been better and made a better image. So anyway, again, it's a good capture. It's a great capture. That expression of the guy being holding the ball, being tackled. I love that. His determination. It's great. So it's a triangle, which is great. You've got the man's face at the top, and your eye kind of goes down the back of the man on the left, and it goes along the feet, and it goes back up the leg. And you've got this triangle, which again, triangles are great compositional elements. Your eye loves to move around an image, and it just makes your image interesting. So then you've got that. The problem I have with the image, you could crop this a square because what's on the right is completely unnecessary to the image. Just crop it square. This would be a great candidate for a square image. And I would suggest that. So because everything that's happening is in that perfect triangular mass of tackle, which by the way is beautiful. I mean, that where the arms are and the legs are and all of that going on, it's almost like a sculpture of just men, just all those arms and legs. It's just a great triangular composition of men just tackling. So yeah, that itself is a great composition. You don't need what's going on the right. I would crop it square and you'd have your picture. And I would brighten it up and get some more brightness going on to bring out some of the detail in the face and the skin tones and just those, all the detail that you're seeing there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Ling Whitworth.
Okay.
Ling, I had a question about that. Was there a fence around the field?
No, I don't. No.
Looks like one.
Because I've noticed
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I see that, this pattern.
these
of that.
lines here, and I was wondering if there was a fence around the field or
Yeah,
something.
it almost, well,
Yes, yes. This is a playoff, regional playoff. Surrounding the play area behind, yes, there's some kind of almost invisible fence. But
Okay.
it still can see the.
oh
the
yeah.
line.
Well, it's out
Yeah.
of focus. It doesn't bother me.
Right. It
It's
didn't
a
need me either, but I just noticed the
Yeah.
vertical lines there, and I was wondering if that was an effect of the post-processing or if there was a fence there.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
a moray or something.
All right. Portrait of a horse.
That's a beautiful image. Lots of beautiful texture. The the light is on the horse. So again, my eye is going to the horse. It just immediately goes there. It's a two-dimensional image. So what that means is there's not a lot of foreground and background. The background is kind of on the same plane as the horse, so it's kind of two-dimensional. The rest of the image is kind of a texture for the horse. Horse is on the lower left, which is a kind of a rule of thirds image. Square crop, which is appropriate for this image, kind of nice because it's a two-dimensional kind of shot. Everything's sharp, focused. It's a beautiful horse. I would like to a little bit more light on the horse's face, but you got. I just want to see the eye or something in the horse. But anyway, nicely done. I'm not sure what you can really do to make this better. Maybe a little bit more color, bring up the color. It's kind of, well, I mean, that would be subjective. But the issue is that it's static. It's a static image. And there's no eye movement going on there. And that's fine. I mean, for a graphic image, you really don't have a lot of eye movement. But I don't know. It's just, yeah, that would be my only criticism is not much. It's a very static image of the horse. You know, I want some eye movement diagonally or something like that. I'm not sure where to go. My eye goes right to the horse, and it's kind of on the lower left, and I guess it's good. But yeah, that's my only criticism. Otherwise, it's pretty. Yeah, it's
Heidi Nunley.
very good. Nice. All right.
Cullen.
All right, this is nice. Again, I'm surprised all these square crops, great. This is an interesting shot. It's somewhat of a story going on there, the rifle and the helmet. Kind of an interesting subject. I like the diagonal of the mountainsides. That's kind of adding to some interest to the image. It is kind of, not sure what to say. I like it. It's the subject is, I'm not sure what to say about this. There's a story there, but I want more. I want something more. There's more information somewhere, and I'm looking for more. You've got this beautiful mountainside in a natural environment, but then you've got this gun with this helmet there, and I've got lots of questions. I'm like, what is this? Why is this there? If there was a human element in the picture, or if I got the bottom of the rifle to see what's actually happening, why is it standing up like that? I need more information as to. I've got lots of questions when I look at the image. I think it's nicely composed, but it's static, and I got questions. What am I really looking at? What's the story behind it? I got questions, and so in that sense, I don't know if it really works. I just need more, and more information would be pulling back. Let's see what relationship does that rifle have with the background, and what's the story? If you have a man in there standing behind it, or I would have a story. But right now it's a static image, and I'm not really engaged. So, but it's sharp, and I think black and white is good. It works for it.
And this is at the D-Day Memorial
Oh, okay.
in Bedford. And the reason that the tip of the rifle is not there is because there's a wall.
Oh, okay.
Down there that would be in the view, which they kind of took away from it a little bit.
I see. Yeah.
And that's why I left the.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm
to that. But yeah,
I'm the viewer. I don't know that.
Right.
I'm looking at the image, and I'm saying, I got these questions, these question marks going, what's this? So yeah. Yeah, it has a somber, if you know the story behind it, like you know the story behind it,
Right.
because you're there. But for me, I'm looking for the story.
Well, and part of it, you know, it's the helmet on the rifle and the dog.
Yeah,
You know, that's basically the story.
right. Yeah. Okay, but
Fallen soldier.
yeah, no, I get that. Very good.
This is autumn morning, and this one was small, so let me.
Okay. Yep, very good. That's a pretty tree. It's lovely colors. I like the image. It's pretty. Critically, I would say that you don't need the sky. You could almost go square on it, but maybe that would be too much. Because the subject is the tree, so I would crop out the sky. You don't really, just a little bit of the sky maybe, because the sky is unnecessary. It's top heavy because the tree is the subject. And I would also bring up the color a little bit more, bring out those reds, more saturation, bring out the vibrancy. It's a flat image, so there's not, the sun is obviously, there's not a lot of brightness that going on, overcast day, which is good for color. So that's why I would like to bring up the reds, make it more vibrant. Yeah, it's a pretty shot of the tree. You don't need the top. It's a little bit top heavy with the sky. That would be my criticism. You could have gone with a larger aperture to throw the background a little bit out of focus. And also the horizon on the background, it's kind of going up. I don't know if that's, yeah, that horizon is off. So yeah, it's kind of making me like, is that a hill? I think it would be better if that horizon was straight. It would stabilize the image a little bit better.
Well, okay, so this is my photo, Dave.
Okay.
And if I look at that, however, then the tree's crooked.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I like the tree being more straight.
I see. Well, it's natural for whenever you're looking at image, the horizon, even if the tree is crooked, the horizon needs to be straight.
Okay.
It's always just the way it goes. You naturally, it's intuitive for you to look for straight horizons. Unless you're doing something, for a reason, for an emotional reason, you're tilting the camera for some reason of the subject or an emotional reason, to express yourself. But on landscapes, you've got to have a straight horizon. It's just one of the rules of the trade and of doing landscapes. You've got to get that horizon straight. So it does bother me a little bit that that's kind of like scaling upward. But so yeah, I mean, you could straighten out the horizon and crop that sky, and you get a pretty nice image, and increase the color.
The good news is this tree's over Bird Park, so I'll have a chance to do it again this fall.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's a good place to go. Got a lot of pictures there. Really nice. There you go.
And that's the last
Okay.
image.
All right.
Let me show you. I've got this other one here. I want to show you.
Okay, sure.
From the D-Day Memorial. Let me.
Okay. Yeah. Show me.
This one was probably. I was trying to decide which one.
Okay.
That I wanted to share or to show, and this is the.
Oh yeah.
One.
That's actually. This is actually.
According to your remarks, this is probably a better image.
Well, much better, way better. Oh, there's a story right there.
And is that the moon?
The story, right?
That is the moon there. And it was actually there. I didn't put that moon there. I moved around until I could get that moon in that position.
Oh.
To get the moon up there right above the helmet.
That's cool.
Great shot. Yeah, I like this shot better. Well, I'm glad you put the other one in because then I could criticize it.
Yeah.
So it's good.
And I'm glad I did too, because that way I could, hear the reasoning why this one is actually better than the other one.
Absolutely. There you go. It's perfect. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I like people putting in images that they have questions on rather than the perfect image, But yeah. Excellent. So yeah, there's a lot of good images there, and I'm being critical, but trying to help you there a little bit. But good images. So yeah, thank you for submitting. I hope I was helpful.
Oh, great.
Some of it's objective and some of it's subjective. I mean, you can argue over my points, but I think tried to help you with making the images sound better.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Rob.
Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Right.
Welcome,
Keep
Dwayne
shooting.
and Adam.
No. Keep shooting.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Kemp, I must have, I thought I had submitted some photos. I must have gotten your email wrong. Could you put it in the chat and I can send them for next time?
Yes.
Oh wow, you didn't get your images now. Oh wow.
Did he complete the other one? Why is it not? It's still here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't see anything from Dwayne there. He's in the,
Yeah, and I didn't get any from Dwayne either.
all right. All right. Any questions? Anybody have like criticisms of my criticism?
No, I think you did a very good job. I agree with most of everything that you said.
Oh, good.
Of course, Robert, you were bad as usual.
Oh yeah, it's tearing it apart. I was being nice compared to what I've been in critiques where they rip it apart. Yeah.
Robert,
I just
All right.